Hello, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning a Magazine with another album review. But again, I'm joined by my lovely wife, Sue.
Hello.
And the reason Sue's with me on this one is we're reviewing one of her favourite artists, and an artist that she introduced me to many years ago.
Just a few years.
Just a few years ago. And it's Julian Cope. Basically, we're going to be looking at the reissues, and this is the first two. And this is Shut Your Mouth.
World Shut
Your Mouth even. And well known for the fact that World Shut Your Mouth isn't on it.
Yes.
because it's on the album that came after the next one, St. Julian. So, Sue.
Yes.
Tell me, what is it about World Shut Your Mouth? Oh, Julie, shall we go back to
Let's go
Julian?
back to the very beginning.
We're going back to the Teardrop Explodes, aren't we?
Yes. So when I was about 10, my parents moved me from Birmingham to Warwickshire, which doesn't seem like that far away, but it felt like it, to a little village called Curdworth. Anyway, the reason I'm saying this is the bus that used to go from Birmingham city centre and drop me off at Curdworth ended up in Tamworth, which is where Julian Cope lived. And it seemed like such an exotic place. I'm sure it is. So round about that time, I was about 14, and I just remember hearing Reward by the Teardrop Explodes, and I just thought it was the most amazing sound. Just as soon as the song starts, just the opening bars, it's just full of energy, just very exciting.
It is actually, it very much so,
Yes.
Reward by Teardrop Explodes, because this, when was that the late 70s?
It was 81, I
81.
think.
Because obviously I was listening to primarily rock music, but I remember one of my friends who was a bit younger than me, and he was into like the kind of new wave of British heavy metal and that stuff. He said, "Phil, have you heard the Splodes," as he called them?
Who was that then?
It was a guy called Marcus. And he said they're really good, and it was the brass. It was the use of the brass section, and the video was them like driving around in like a little mini moke, wasn't it? And it was really well edited, and it was a really great track. And so going back to these two reissues, this is the first two. This is his first solo album after the Teardrop Explodes kind of exploded. And I think some of the tracks from here were kind of off. I think, was it Everyone Wants to Shag, the Teardrop Explodes album that kind of crept out later on.
Yes,
but I think some of them were reworked on here. Now, this album came out in 1984. And when it came out, it didn't have great reviews. It was one of two albums he did for Mercury Records. And one of the reasons they said it didn't get good reviews is that they felt that Julian wasn't in touch with what was going on around him in the world of pop and rock.
That's probably a good thing.
But that probably is a good thing, because one thing if you're a Julian Cope fan and you start to get under his... Not under his
bonnet?
skin, but under his bonnet, yeah, under his turtle shell. You know when I say that, you'll know why I'm saying that on the next album, Fried. Is that him hearing that news that he wasn't really fitting in what was going around was probably made him think, brilliant. Because the one thing about Julian Cope is I don't think he cares what anyone thinks. And I think the fact that he doesn't fly along the same route as his contemporary artists is what drives him. This is a highly polished album, and from the review perspective, because we only had this on CD before getting this final one, it doesn't have a polyline sleeve, but it's got the inner sleeve. Everything's done exactly as it was with the original vinyl release. It's 180 gram. It sounds great. I mean, what are your favourite tracks, Sue?
So my favourite tracks are Elegant Chaos.
Great track.
Head Hang Low, and Greatness and Perfection.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And he's joined by Kate St. John. Now, is it St. John or St. John? I don't know, because British people have a funny way of pronouncing such names, but I'm going to call her Kate St. John.
Yeah, I would have said St.
A woodwind
John,
player.
Although I'm well known for getting pronunciations wrong, but I would go with St. John.
Pronunciation.
Yeah, I get...
There you go. Yes. Anyway, Kate St. John is a fantastic woodwind player and a very successful musician in her own right. And she plays the cor anglais on World Shut Your Mouth and also on the Fried albums. And with her amazing cor anglais sound and Julian's very powerful, rich voice, I mean, his voice, it just sounds like Julian Cope. There's no one else that sounds like that. And he's just got the most wonderful kind of English accent. I think it comes across as like a very English sound.
Yeah, it's completely unique. So this came out early 1984, and then he didn't.
You got enough hands?
I've got enough. Yeah. the two are fine. He decided that after that, he would basically pose naked under a turtle shell in Tamworth for his next album called Fried. So no doubt Mercury Records by this time were concerned.
Good for you, Julian.
But he managed to... this will come up separately because it's massive. For those of you who've got wall space...
Are you going to be able to unfold?
I'm not, no. But it's just to give people an idea. For those of you who've got some extra wall space at home, you can put Julian posing in the edge of a lake under a turtle shell.
And why wouldn't you?
On the wall. But I think it's marvellous that he actually got Mercury to tick that off as a thing they wanted to do. Now, this album... Did you know when we were playing them, I actually thought I preferred this one. Then I went back to World Shut Your Mouth, and then I've gone back to this one again. This one's got Reynard the Fox.
Oh, Reynard the Fox, one of my favourite tracks ever. And what I love about Julian's music is it's just so positive all the time. It's just got this upbeat energy. And Reynard the Fox is quite a brutal song all about fox hunting, but it's just still upbeat, everything about it. And you've got the descriptions of the Warwickshire countryside, which is where I grew up. He mentions Polesworth and places like that. So for me, I just really identified with his music as I was living in Warwickshire at that time. But it's just beautiful, beautiful song, even though the words obviously are very bleak. But
there's some good songs on here.
Some great tracks.
Is it Sunspots is a good one, isn't it?
Sunspots, Laughing Boy, O King of Chaos. And he's joined also by Donald Ross Skinner on this album, who plays guitar and slide guitar.
Yes.
He wasn't on the first one.
And Kate St. John's back.
Yes,
if we're going to pronounce it like that.
She's back with her fabulous woodwind playing. Donald Ross Skinner went on to collaborate with Julian for about 10 years. And he was a fan, He just knocked on his door in Tamworth, in this exotic place, and just ended up being in his band. And of course, we have that album called Right, didn't we, years later, which is very ambient. I just absolutely love it. And they just pretty much wrote it together, just collaborated on that. So that's where he appears with this really mellow sounding funky slide guitar sound.
Yeah, so this one sold, I think, even less. And I think Mercury dropped him after this. And when we do the follow-up video to this, we'll be looking at My Nation Underground from 1988 and St. Julian. For St. Julian, he decided to have a haircut, dress all in leather, sorted out that very special kind of microphone stand he had, and obviously listened to a lot of early Alice Cooper. But that's for another time. But that album does have World Shut Your Mouth on, which was his biggest hit single. But the other thing, Julian, I know that Sue, you want to mention this, is that because he was very interested, still is, in fact, he's probably even more so. We've kind of lost touch with him a bit over the last few years, but he's really interested in the landscape, nature, alternative stuff, isn't he? And
as are we.
You've got to mention this book.
Yeah. The Modern Antiquarian. Is it upside down?
It's upside down.
Oh, well.
But I think that adds to it, really.
Yeah, The Modern Antiquarian is a beautiful book all about the sacred landscape and stone circles. It's just gorgeous. And we saw him, didn't we, do a talk about that subject.
In
the book signed.
Late 90s as well.
Yeah.
And hopefully, hope that Universal, who are doing this release programme, will carry on beyond St. Julian and My Nation Underground, because after that, it is Peggy Suicide and Jehovah Kill.
Yeah, Jehovah Kill.
And those have got
great albums.
They've got some fantastic stuff on.
They really do.
Haven't they?
Yeah. Brilliant.
Well, so thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Remember both of these albums, Fried and My Nation Underground, if I could.
World Shut Your Mouth. You're juggling so many Julian Cope albums in your mind, Phil.
World Shut Your Mouth.
Yes.
Are out now on Universal. So this is the first of two final reissues that come out, and the next ones are St. Julian and My Nation Underground. So thank you for watching. Remember, music is the healer and the doctor. You can subscribe, buy merch. Remember to check out the Facebook group and the podcast and the website at nowspinning.co.uk. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, keep spinning those discs, and we'll see you both again. Thank you.
Certainly will. Thank you. Bye.